Hi everybody and welcome. My name is Sophie Josephina and I am a life, sex and relating coach, and I work a lot with the masculine and feminine. If you know anything about my work, that is pretty obvious. And what I am passionate about is bringing them back together again in a place of respect, of honoring, of devotion, because I think everybody in their essence wants to connect to another person, to deeply really connect to another person. And so much between men and women, the masculine and the feminine, is still so filled with pain and judgment, old narratives, and there's so much beautiful work to do there. So part of that is that I would love to hear the side of the healthy masculine in all of this, and how they are experiencing this, how we as women can show up better for men, how we can honor them, what their main pain points are. I think when we understand each other better, we can feel more compassion for the other and honor everybody in their essence and what they need. So today I am joined by Hans Comyn, which, if I'm saying it correctly, you are a romance artist.
Well, I was already happy you said the name Hans Comyn right, because usually English speakers don't get that right. But since you're Dutch, that's why you got it, of course.
Yeah, Hans Comyn. And Hans Comyn, as far as I understand, is a romance artist who is specialized in the art of seduction for men. Can you tell us a bit more who you are, Hans?
Well, there's I just realized actually in the past couple of weeks how much I thrive on transformation and reinventing myself and becoming someone else. Mm-hmm. And I've worn many hats in the past, maybe too many because I lost my hair because of it. But I've always been an athlete. Mm-hmm. I present myself sometimes as a Renaissance man because I've always been an athlete. I was a football player before, and I ride bikes now. And I was an academic. I was schooled in philosophy and sociology, and I had a past life as an academic at the University of Brussels. I've always done arts also, reviewing popular arts and making music, writing books. And I'm a traveler too. But maybe the thing that really combines it all is that I'm a seducer, and I see in seduction maybe the missing ingredient of all our failing relationships, and certainly the solution or the secret ingredient to every thriving relationship. So I stand for seduction, and I really want to reclaim the beauty of it and the pivotal part it plays in the way we relate to one another.
So what is seduction to you? What does seduction mean?
Seduction to me is the art of allowing the other to feel alive. And it's the creation of beauty. When I say the art of allowing the other to feel alive, I see two things. And the first one is the other feels seen, felt, and heard. And that's one. And the second part is you allow them to dream. You allude to something that's bigger than me and you and us, something bigger that you could get caught up in. And those two together makes us feel alive, makes us feel seduced. And to me, that's the greatest gift that you can give to someone, because it's the greatest feeling for me to be seduced and be in that place where you feel seen, heard, and felt, and at the same time you like, wow, there's something bigger here I can aspire to, I can share with, I can explore. And so it's the art of allowing the other to feel alive.
Yeah, I just realized just before we started to record, you reflected on my work, and you right away also gave me the sense of that there are even bigger things ahead for me. And it was so nice to receive that. Because it made me feel like that you were respecting me, that you were seeing me, and also that you saw my potential or some way that felt really, I noticed it brought me really back into my body and really safe in a way. Yeah. Was that seduction? Was that your seduction?
Well, I'm a seducer all the time. It's not something I turn on or off, it's not a tool that I use to get from the other what I covertly desire. It really is a way of moving through life, and the way I want to move through life and be with people. So I didn't even think of it, but I did think of, I see very clearly of the the how would I say, the challenge that is coming your way in the work that you do, because I think it's so essential, and it will come with great possibilities, but also burdens and responsibility, and so, and yeah, I wanted to honor you for it, that you're taking that on, because I think it's very much needed what you're doing.
Thank you. And so what is it that you have focused on men? Why is it that men need this to learn again, or to be remembered about the art of seduction?
Well, we do men and women, and we do combined, but also separate women and men. Me as a man, I really want to make a stand for men and be in a certain way a older brother that most guys don't have, and be an ally for them, you know. And I also feel like the masculinity has been under such threat that I need to stand up for it, you know, because I think it's a beautiful, fantastic energy that I want to safeguard, and I want to make a stand for it. And so, it's also, I think, men can relate more, you know, to me, and I can relate more to them. So my main work has been with guys, but yeah, we did talks for only women, and I do coaching of women also. And so yeah, it's both. But recently, it's been a lot of men. Yes.
Yeah. What do you feel? What do you notice is the main pain or the main challenge that men are facing today?
Well, I would say my first inclination there is to say that their very essence is under threat, meaning, or at least questioned, you know, and they feel they're lost, because a lot of men, certainly in the Western world, you know, I travel a lot, I'm a traveler, and so it's not the same in, say, Africa or Eastern Europe or Latin America. There's similarities, but a lot of men in the West are completely lost because they don't feel welcome anymore. They don't know what to do, and they drop the ball first and foremost. But a lot of men are very well intentioned, they have good intentions, but they don't know anymore, because they've been trained since they're young, you know, to be a good boy, you know, to be a nice man and or a nice guy, and we're not taught anymore to be great, you know, and everything is gearing towards it. We don't have many father figures anymore who tell us what to do. We don't have brotherhood where we can share stories, and we're lost, you know, and then we're condemned for a lot of things that are, say, masculine, and so they're lost. And I'm never blaming anyone for it, but we're a lot of men are like clueless with good intentions and no resources to step into their full masculinity, because our fathers are not there. We're not taught in school. And everywhere in the media, you see that masculinity is vilified in so many ways, and so it's a deep, essential, profound longing, and most men don't know what's going on, and I think that's the real fight, is that when before, or say, our enemies to a man were clear, meaning I got to save my family from famine, or I got to go to war, you know, and the enemies are clear, and the fight is clear. Today, it's not for men. It's like this kind of lukewarm plight that they learn to tolerate and compromise, and little by little they close off those big dreams that they had as boys, you know, to be great men, to be warriors for their people, to be, you know, men that are upright. And it's a constant training since we're born, and mommy tells us that's not right, and school teachers tell us this is how you be a good boy, and then they go to a job and they have a boss who tells them what to do, and you know, and there's something simmering underneath that we have even trouble articulating, and that's why it's so powerful. We don't see the compromise that we give into over the years. You see me struggling to articulate that, but it's
I recognize a lot from the men I work with that there's a sense of lostness, of this like there's something missing and I don't really know what it is, and I also don't know where to look anymore. And I also recognize that a lot of the men in my own life and the men that I work with are men that want to do well.
Yes.
They want to do well more than anything. Like, we've villainized men that, oh, men are cheaters or this or that. But actually every man that I meet wants to do well.
Of course.
And then struggles with his own closing down, for instance, but in his essence, he wants to do well. Yeah.
Yes. And everyone, men and women,
Yeah.
So that's our saving grace. I read something recently and it really hit home, and I forgot who wrote, but he said, every man needs a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue. And I see that, we don't have that no more. Men don't have battles to fight, or they don't see it. And we don't go on adventures, we go on once a year, we go on a vacation and we find ourselves in the souvenir shop or at the buffet, and that's not what we want. We want adventure. We want to battle. We want to be there for our people. We want to defend them. We want, and we want beauty to rescue. We want to, nothing inspires us more than being able to be that guy for a woman or for our people or for our children. It's a very existential crisis.
Yeah. So what do you say to some of the nice guys? Because I see it a lot around me, the men that are so much trying to do it well that they become these extremely nice men that are extremely agreeable, will do everything, and then often struggle with something in their shadow because their masculinity is not getting any space to be. So they'll have some dark stuff happening somewhere that they're hiding. But what everybody sees is this extremely nice guy. What is your perspective on the nice man?
A perspective, or what do I say to him?
Yes, what would you say to a nice man?
I would say, come and spend some time here, do some adventure learning. Yeah. But yes, when I have courses and one of the themes is always anger. And by anger, I mean really like going to explore that dark side. And it's shocking to me how that anger, it just is. Anger is an emotion or a feeling, whatever. It just is. How much that is a taboo, way more than, say, sex, for example. Even. Like, men are so afraid of that, and they don't want to go there. And it's number one. You got to come to terms with your own anger, and then you have a way to use it, constructively in the form of, say, assertiveness, but we're so afraid. It's such a taboo that we're the slave of it. We're the slave of our dark side, of our anger. And that's why we're so afraid to be that guy, that we try to be nice and be agreeable, and short term, that seems to relieve some of the pain that we're facing. Like we're not standing up for ourselves, and short term, it seems, okay, we're agreeable, but long term, it kills the soul of the man. It kills the soul of the woman, because she has contempt, and it kills the relationship. And it's a sure recipe for disaster. And unfortunately, it's a huge taboo, anger, way more than say sex.
Yeah. There's so many things I want to say to this. First of all, I just want to give the perspective of a woman that if I notice that my man is extremely a nice guy, I will start testing him. And it's not because I want to hurt him. It's not because I want to walk all over him. But when I notice that he will not give me boundaries, or he will not create any kind of container or stand for anything, I will test him. Because as the feminine, I want to feel what he stands for. I want to feel what's too much.
Exactly.
And I want to feel that he's not going to shake because of me.
That's exactly your role, and you could see many reactions of women being that, like to try to find the masculinity. Imagine even this, Sophie, that the whole societal the time that we're living in, where masculinity is say vilified in a way, and you got all kinds of things that are attacking masculinity, or you have feminism, and I'm not like blaming again, but imagine all of that is one giant test of women looking for that masculinity, like, please bring it to us, you know. And that it goes on a micro level in every relationship, and it goes, you know, on a societal level. And I think that's where we're at, you know. We're really testing times, and with great opportunities where we're able to redefine and rearticulate masculinity, you know. And I'm very excited about what's happening.
Because I think the feminine is always trying to bring a man to his essence. And so when we feel that he's shaking, we will start poking. So when, for instance, we feel that he's not really there, a woman will start complaining. And I'm not saying that complaining is always a healthy thing. It's not, but she will pick up before the man has picked up that he's not really there. And she will start protesting it. So when we can't feel our man, we will let it know that it will come out, because we can't be with that. We can't be with a man that actually isn't choosing to be there. We want a man in his integrity, that when you are there, you choose to be there, and you're with him. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you, my book, The Way of a Seducer is about this, you know, and I really believe that what a woman, the possibilities or the attractiveness or seductive power a woman has through, say, her beauty or whatever a man can only attain through his integrity. Or fame has some influence also, but the integrity, meaning you stand for something, you stand unwavering. And that's what really needed from men. When women even say we want a man who stays, that's that. A guy who's upright, so she has the liberty to be frivolous, you know, and it's so needed, you know, to stand unwavering, to stand for something, anything, you know.
So what do you say to the men, because I think that's a pain point for a lot of women, the men that are kind of avoidant, kind of afraid of commitment, that are a bit mixed signals. What do you say to those kind of men?
To the men or to the women?
To the men.
Well, to me, commitment is the cornerstone of every relationship.
Yeah.
And so, but by that, I don't mean the commitment that's like traditional, say, we have very few ways of articulating a relationship. It seems like we only have like a monogamous, cohabitant, romantic relationship, and all the others are like less worthy. So, and commitment is often seen in that regard, like the assumption or presupposition of, say, sexual exclusivity. And so I'm not talking about this. It could be that, but commitment to me is really an engagement, a vow, you know, of like, what are you committing to, you know? And commitment is the cornerstone of every relationship. So it's, a lot of men are afraid, say, of commitment in the traditional sense, because they sense that it is a kind of assumption of sexual exclusivity. And what does this mean? And it's this whole, it's because it is so presupposed and not deliberate and not articulated well, that men think, should I commit or not? But I tell them that commitment is the cornerstone, but you should fill in that commitment. You should come and say, what are you going to commit to? If you can commit to be there for the woman as an ally, say, that's a way bigger commitment than showing up as, say, a boyfriend or a husband even. And so, I commit, you know, and I tell them that there's an enormous liberty that comes from committing, you know, and you got to choose what you commit to, who you commit to. But I'm a big defendant of exchanging vows, of speaking it, you know, renewing your vows. And I also believe in that sense that marriage is a beautiful thing, you know, although it has become a complete travesty. But
I think what a lot of women are missing is maybe the integrity of word and action. So even if a man just wants a one-night stand, that he would stand for that and say, that's what I want, and this is what I'm here for. Because then it would be okay. It's this problem that, I'm not saying just men do this, but just for the sake of this discussion, that they make it look like they want more, or they're going to woo you and take you to Paris, and actually what they wanted was a one-night stand.
Yes.
When actually I think most women would be okay with you expressing that what you want is just this.
Yes.
And to stand in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the relationship mess that we're in, because of these assumptions, and nothing is made illicit, and we're afraid that the other will get hurt, and we're very crippled, for one thing is because we're not very open about things, and we have very little tools. We have no way of really talking about this, gathering about this. We don't have education in it, so we have to figure it out by ourselves, and it's shocking to me to see that something that's so important, it's the number one predictor of happiness and health is our relationships, is that we have such little education, tools, history in it, and so much failing. If we would have an air over a space program that with so much failure, we would have abandoned it a long time ago. But in relationships, we keep going, and that's our saving grace. We want it so much, we need it so much. We'll figure it out, and I really feel that we're about to shift into something different, because what we've been doing is ancient, to say, at best, and it's really crippled at worst.
What do you wish more women understood about men? What's the thing that we're missing?
Wow. I like what you said earlier, with the intentions,
Yeah.
To me, I thought of a couple of things now. But to me, if you I think the whole honoring is so important. Like you say, the compassion. To me, you have the suspension of judgment, the empathy and compassion, and then the honoring. If you're able to honor the masculine, if you could walk the shoes of men and see the mountain they've been facing, and the stand they've been making, why they do the things, and you can honor them for them. It's impossible to be mad at each other, and the same men to women. It's impossible when you walk their shoes to. It's. So what did you say? What did you wish they know?
What did you wish women understood about men? What is the one thing that we're missing?
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm going to answer differently. If you say understand, if they could understand men in the sense that find a way to honor the masculine, in the way and say, then everything is. We're going to shift into something that's so beyond. If you're in judgment, of, say, the man, and you try to understand something, you're going to say, okay, I understand you now. I get you. I see this. But if you're still in judgment, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. But if you could come with honoring, if you could, instead of with your judgment, come and honor the guy, then anything is possible, Yeah. And I think, and that's not just about men, but I think if people could understand the power of honoring the other, they would. Miracles happen all the time. And it only takes one person. You don't need to be both. It takes one person to make these miracles happen through the power of honoring the other instead of judging them. And it could sound conceptual, and even for I'll talk about me. I had a big insight couple of years ago that I was very judgmental of people judging me. And it was a complete blind spot. And it's such a go-to, the judgment, that we don't really see. I realized then I'm the prisoner of my own judgment, and you don't really see it. And it's so, I wish women could understand that of men, that we want the very same things.
Yeah.
And if we could only walk each other's shoes, it would be, miracles are possible.
Yeah. I've been speaking a lot about this in my course of, do we treat our male partners with an assumption that they're guilty or an assumption that they're innocent? Like, what's the
Mm-hmm.
energy you go into? Is it like, I know you're going to screw up somewhere? Or is
Yes.
it, I assume that you are a good man, and of course I will be alert, but my assumption is that you're a good man. And that's a very
Mm.
different energy. And I think a lot of women go into relationships with, this guy's going to do something weird at some
Yes.
point, and I'm just waiting. I'm waiting it out.
Prove me different, you know?
Yeah. And so that's also a difficult energy for a man to step into, because he's already
Yeah.
done something wrong before he's done anything.
He cannot win.
Yeah, you
Like
can't.
you in every relationship, you got to give the other a chance to win. That's the only way it's going to be win-win. And that way, like the whole dating scene in the West is very much like the guy is applying for the position of boyfriend in a way. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying everything, and so, but the best he can ever end up with is with the position of the boyfriend, the way that she thinks it should be. You know? Yes. And so it's never going to be a win-win. No. And so so it's fucked up from the beginning, you know. And it's I don't know how we got there, but you said
another part to
the
this
assumption that he's good. Yes.
Yeah, the assumption is good. So another part of that is I see this, people posting this all the time on Instagram, like, I want a man that treats me like a queen. And then I think, really, are you treating him like a king? Like, you want somebody to be the masculine in the relationship, but he has to come in like putting you on a pedestal, and then he has to be the big man, and like, how he can't.
No, he can't.
You already made the polarity weird from the beginning. And so when my work with women is not to say that all men are good and we're going to let them walk all over us. Absolutely not. Like, be vigilant. But how can I devote men from the get-go? Because that's what I want, right? I want to surrender to my king. I want to just like, I want him to have the space. So if I want that, I need to create the space for him to do that.
Right.
And he doesn't have to fight me. Yeah.
It's incredible. Like what women can do for men is shocking, Sophie, how much power a woman has to bring out like the great man in him. If you have a woman if you have a woman who can honor men, like, and this is how she shows up in the world. This is how she shows up with this man. I'm a queen. Are you a king? You know, if she can, and you know, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. You know, you're a 5-star client until you prove differently. But you know, if you can do that with a man, it's incredible. They'll kill and die for you. It's just, it's what men are waiting for. You know, and or what they would like to see. You know, and again, I'm not blaming men. I'm not blaming women. It's you know, it's a situation that we brought ourselves in through ages and centuries. You know, but I do blame anyone who's perpetuating the games, you know, and I do think that each one of us has the power to change it around, you know, as a man, as a woman, you have that power.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I'm very curious on your thoughts about this. Like, when I started getting into like men's work, I was speaking to a few like thought leaders on this subject of like, can I as a woman evoke my man into his power? And they said, no. What happens now in men's work is men have to help men. And then I thought, you know, I get it. I get that the man has to open the door himself to his awakening. I can't push him through that door. I get that. But I feel more feminine next to a certain man. Right? And so my femininity can also call in his masculinity. And the practice that I'm doing is that I'm not emotionally caretaking my men anymore. So I'm not mommying them. I'm not doing their emotional work for them. So what I used to do in relationships is I would constantly be like, hey, something's up. I can see that you're feeling something. What are you feeling? What's going on? I can see it. I don't do it anymore because yes, I noticed that he just like closed off or got annoyed at something, but I assume that he is going to figure it out and going to speak to me if he needs to. And so I'm putting the responsibility in his shoes again.
Wow. Yes.
And it's changed my men completely because they have to do the work themselves because I'm not doing it.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the key there. What you just said is the responsibility. There is so much power that you have as a woman to inspire, seduce. You know, it's more than guys. You have that power. You know, when I say you're not a man unless you hear it from the lips of a beautiful woman, and it speaks to that. It speaks to that power that you have.
Yeah.
But to draw the line at responsibility is very important. You say, okay, I'm not doing the work for you. You know? I'm not mommy. I'm not the masculine. You have to do it. But yeah, both are there. I really testify to the power that women have. I mean, I see it in me. You know?
Yeah.
It's women that have inspired me to be great whenever I'm great, which is very rarely. But but it's women who do that. You know, when I'm in the presence of a feminine woman, man, I'll kill dragons. I won't even flinch.
Yeah.
You know, it's so powerful.
So what can we do as women to support our men more? What is actually supportive?
Honor your men, like you said.
What does
I
that
mean,
mean?
we have very practical tools like technologies to start honoring your man, which is if you have been judging your man, we go through the honor window, which helps you see your judgment, which helps you see that the way to work on the relationship is not try to change him, but you have to start with your judgment. And by taking away your own judgment and starting to honor him, you also he'll come along, because there's nothing he would like more than to go back to the time when you were honoring each other and thinking the other is the greatest. You know, so you gladly do that. And like I said, it takes one person, and then it's a constant attention giving. Like we have practices in place where I remind. And you talked about women complaining, and I say often that whenever a woman's complaining, what she really wants is for you to remind her who she is for you and who you are for her.
Yes.
And that's a practice I do all the time and recommend all the time. You just sit down and you remind each other who you are for me. And when you say who you are for me, it means you walk their shoes, you see the mountain they've been facing, you see the stand they've been making, you know, the hardship they went through, you see what choices they make, and you honor them for it, you know. And it's just a great relief when you do that as a man to a woman. It's fantastic. When a woman does that to a man, it's incredible, you know. If he feels honored, it's such a powerful feeling to feel honored. And so I would always recommend that. You know, you think, you know, a lot of women will have a case against their men or against all men, and it feels very right, you know, motherfucker, you know, and he doesn't deserve it, and men are like this, and you're right, you know, and it's not going to help you. You know, what's going to help you is see, wow, these judgments, I'm the prisoner of these judgments, of my own judgments towards him, towards man. And the only way out is not arguing back and forth. The only way out is say, we stop this kind of way of conversing, which is through judgment, and we go through honor, which is a complete different way. And it takes, I always say it's simple, but it's very hard because you have to keep practicing this. But it could take one conversation to completely shift around a relationship that has gone sour and has been, you already gave up on, you know, and you say, it's not going to be saved. Miracles are possible with just one conversation.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know if you know the book Getting the Love You Want from Hartful Hendricks. He talks about this a lot, about how a lot of relationships are stuck in war zone. So you're just making each other wrong. You've got the righteousness, like you did this, yes, but you did that. And to move from war zone to love zone, to partnering with each other, like, I see what your life has been. I see what you've been through. I see your wounding. I see your needs. And it doesn't mean that I'm your mommy. It doesn't mean I'm saving you, but I am partnering with you.
I see
I'm
you.
Acknowledging you.
Yes.
And I honor you, exactly what you're saying. I honor you in what you're going through, and I will do my best to partner with you. At least there's a commitment of me partnering with you. And the moment you do that, the energy changes, because it's not about how right I am or how wrong you are.
No, when you go like this, you know, I'm thinking, like, what are we expecting? That all of a sudden the other party is going to say, oh yeah, thank you for pointing out I was an asshole. You know,
I had no idea.
No, like, at best, someone will feel right and the other loses. But even that, you know, what you want is a win-win. What you want is a win-win. And that's only possible if you play a different game, where the game is not you're against the other. You know, we're playing together. And the way to get there is you change the complete rules of the game. You suspend the judgment and you go through honor, and it's a complete different way.
So how do you honor somebody that has really, really, really hurt you? What if something really bad happened?
Yeah. Well, those two are completely independent.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll tell the story. It's with a man. Mm-hmm. Well, I could do an ex too who broke my heart. No, she didn't. I mean, she didn't break. But the most recent is with my ex-business partner, and he basically kicked me out a couple of years ago, 2016. And this was my whole life. You know, everything I had was that we started it together, and Arja Marata is Zan, and everybody knows this. I've spoken about it and I made it public, and I felt so angry with him and sad, you know, because my whole life was gone. You know, Arja Marata was everything to me. My sense of value, my sense of purpose, my income, my community, everything. My best friend, you know, and it was all gone from one. And so I had a lot of resentment, and I built a case against him. You know, he's a thief, and he didn't keep his word, and he doesn't want allyship, and I had a very strong case. And my judgment at that moment was a short-term tool to deal with the pain of losing all that. Because if I could make him wrong, I didn't have to deal with that pain so much. I could just put it on him. And so the judgment is a very natural way of dealing with pain and disappointment. But long term, it just kills you. And I saw how long term, even though the judgment felt good and I felt right about it, that there's a higher level, and that long term I wanted to get to, which is I wanted a different relationship with him, you know. And I did the honor window with my business partner's help, with Michael, you know, and I just, it was so deep for me. Like I felt the pain so much. And then I saw, just thinking about it, what a relief I would feel if I could just honor him, you know? And it's, you could, because that's what you need to do. The honor is not to save this relationship. The honor is to relieve yourself from the burden and the pain you feel through your own judgments, you know? And so when I saw the light, I'm like, yes, I know what to do. And Zan was very receptive, because he's been going through a lot of pain as well. You know, he cut me out because he didn't want to, but he felt he needed to protect the message, to protect his life's work, you know? Yeah. And I start seeing it. And then so I did all the work by myself. It doesn't need him. And then I interviewed him after 3 years.
Wow.
And the first 5 minutes, you can find it online. The first 5 minutes, I just honored him, you know? And I honored him for the path he'd been taking, because he had a very dark past and just went to the light and a lot of struggle. I honored him for the message, the Arja Marata message that he started with, and I helped him develop. And I honored him for what he meant for me, because he changed my life. He invited me on an adventure that completely turned my life around. And so I just spoke that. I honored him publicly because people were watching, you know. Oof. And it was just, in 5 minutes, it completely shifted that relationship. And now anything is possible. Since then we met, and it's like old times, you know. And you have to keep doing that. It's not a one-time thing, you know, because people are going to think that they change, and you have to keep showing up that way. But yeah, you could see a miracle happen right there on the screen in 5 minutes, you know. Oof. And it's beautiful for my own, first and foremost, my own relief, that it's like a burden is gone. You feel so good, you know. And then the relationship, people want it, you know. They want to come back to that place where you both win, you know. You both honor each other. You both see the greatness of each other.
Yeah. I think when we are in judgment, we place our pain outside of ourselves. We make this discussion with this imaginary conversation we're still having with that person, but you did this. Exactly. And I think a lot of the healing doesn't mean that situation didn't happen. Of course it happened, but the healing is actually going into yourself. Like, okay, when that happened, how did that make me feel? It's really going into the vulnerability of your own space of okay, yes, something happened there, but I felt XYZ. And that's even in relationships. Like, let's say your partner is doing something you don't like, instead of going, you are doing something and that makes me upset, saying,
Mm-hmm.
I feel really lonely right now.
Yes.
Like if my man wasn't connected to me all week, instead of going, you weren't connected to me all week and I felt really lonely, shitty you, instead of saying, baby, I feel so lonely, I'm having such a
Yes.
rough time, he will be magnetized into, okay, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so different, like that, because it sounds like you're powerful when you speak like that. It sounds like you're a strong, independent woman, but
Yeah, it feels
actually,
good in the first moment. It feels okay.
yeah, like, right, I'm standing for my needs. I'm standing for what happened, but actually, you're just making the other person wrong. And it doesn't mean that they weren't wrong. Maybe they were, but it's not what it's about. What it's about is that your pain gets seen, that they get acknowledged, right? That
Yes.
two people get acknowledged in what they are going through.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
honoring. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, when I saw how much I'm the prisoner of my own judgment, that's why I do it. It's like, I'm not doing it to, like, yeah, you do it to save that, but you do it to save yourself. And when you can save yourself, and walk a different path, people will gladly come with you.
Yeah.
But that to me is the greatest thing about relationships. What I learned is it doesn't need two to save it. It needs one.
Yes.
It needs one to deal with your own judgments, and then anything is possible. And it's so beautiful, I find that so relieving, that I can do it. You can do it. Anyone can do it.
Yeah, that if you're missing something in the relationship, like your partner is not, I don't know, sharing his emotions, that you can start with that, right? You can always start putting that energy in and they will move with you because you're connected, right? Your nervous systems are connected. So they're moving together. So if you move, if you change your energy, their energy will at least move with yours.
I mean, on a one-to-one level, it's possible that you're dealing with a person who will not want to go there, but yeah, you certainly have the power to create in your life the world you want to live in, the relationships that you want. It's great. I think that's a fantastic, for me, it was a great insight to see that it takes one.
Yeah. So I'm also curious on the other side of this. What do you think men should know about women? What's the thing they're missing there?
Women are very dirty.
Yeah, this is true.
It is true. I always say to men, they're dirtier than we are, and they like it more than we do. Otherwise they wouldn't scream so loud.
I love this.
But it is a big realization. It is a big realization to most men, if you could only, if she could only trust you enough to go there, I've been in awe for where women can go, and I'm sometimes even a bit jealous of it because they go to places that, and it's a great relief for me to know that, to see that that we want the same things. We just have different ways of trying to get it.
Yeah. In the essence, every woman wants to be ravished.
Yes.
Right? She wants to be ravished. Like all these men that are trying to be nice guys and respectable. Like, of course you need to be respectable. But at the essence, every woman wants to be ravished. That's what she's longing for.
Of course. But to say that, to know that, and to say that publicly are different things, I'm happy you say it, but it's ravished is a good word because that connects sometimes a little bit with the romantic novels, and but yes, it's a very powerful thing. On my book, the cover is a leopard taking an antelope, this kind of, and the first picture I also show is the one of Teresa from Avila, who's a statue by Bernini, beautiful in Rome, and it's about a nun who describes being visited by an angel, and the way she describes it is both like love and pain, and she has the same way she holds her neck, her body, like that, like antelope, and there is a wow. This is always dangerous, but there's a way greater brutality to all of this, to seduction, to attraction, to a way bigger brutality, and political correctness allows us to explore, but to know that it's there, to know, and not necessarily have to talk about it, because when you do talk about, people go, no, I don't want. But there's, like, I try to help men see that, understand that, speak the language of women in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of men we have no clue. We have no clue of what it is that a woman really desires from you. And
I think a woman desires to feel herself deeper, like literally how sex is designed. It's designed so that a woman feels her body deeper, right? So I think that's literally what the sexual energy comes down to. She wants to feel herself deeper. So she wants to have experiences. She wants to have different energies.
I like that.
She wants to feel alive. And I think in the darkness, like the feminine energy is very dark. Like I think we are more dangerous than men, because I can break anything with my words. I can break anything with my words, more so than a man. And so for a woman to just be met at that level, because a woman is intense, there's lots of stuff going on. So to be met by a man at her intensity gives her the permission to just finally be it. Yes. And this is what I teach men, that if that scares you to go into that space with a woman, just know that as long as you are connected to your heart and you are present with her, you are safe.
Yes.
Be present with her, feel her, and make sure that you are not just moving just from your sexual energy, but that your heart is somewhere in there.
Yes.
The man who stays. Do everything.
Yes. I hear you on that 100%. Just stay.
Stay.
Bear witness. Be in awe.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okay. We've already been talking for almost an hour, I think.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Time's going very quick. Is there any last thing you still would like to speak about, would like to mention?
No, I just notice how relieved in a way I am that I could talk to someone like you,
Yeah.
Because I know some men that I can talk about these things, but there are fewer women, and I'll tell you again, it's very much needed, your voice, and it's great, and for men like me who think about these things, it's a big relief, and I'm very grateful that you do the work that you're doing. So
thank you. I'm really receiving that. Yeah, I think it's all born out of that. I feel such a deep love for the masculine and for men and for women who want to just surrender. Yeah. So thank you, Hans, for this.